Hi, I'm Jim with M&M Tool and Machinery, and today we're going to show you how to use a little bit some CNC software and a CNC machine. Okay, so the cool thing on CNC software is you can take any image you want from off the web and put it on a CNC and recreate it, carve it, right? So let's say I wanted to go to, I don't know, we'll say Christmas stocking. Let's say we wanted that image right there. I like this, I want to cut this. So I'm going to go here, right click, save image as, and I'm going to save it to the file where I've been saving all of my other pictures, so it's easy for me to find. CNC, images, and then I would just say stocking. Yes, stocking. So then I would come in here and for me, I like to clean it up and make sure that it's exactly how I want it to be, and that's how most of you should do it as well. So I'm just pulling up Paint, a basic program, right? And we're going to go Open. We're going to go to Images, and there's the image we want right there. You got to remember that all these colors are just translated into black and white, and how intense they are determines how deep it cuts. So this lighter red is going to be a little bit taller than this darker red over here. And these lines, they may not even show up. It just depends on how much we do it. That darker will be cut a little deeper than this lighter white, right? So you'll end up with an outline, and then light white, and then darker. Now, the better the program, the more you get a gradual slope to it. The basic program that I'm showing you here is going to be more jagged. It's going to be just ups and downs pretty much. A little bit of a slope, but nothing major. But if you get advanced programs, you can have a really, really clean, nice surface. You could take somebody's photo and put it in there and it would look like the real person. Let's say I didn't want some of the things on here. I can just go and erase some of those things, right? Or, you know, if I didn't want this little piece here, I can do whatever I want. And then I come in here to my other software. And this is i-Picture, which comes with General CNC's machines. We sell a couple of different brands, and there's lots of brands out there. But this is i-Picture, a really basic program, but a good program. We're going to go Open Image File, and we saved it here. Open that, and there's our image. Now this is telling us the size of the image. So I can edit those dimensions if I want to, or I can leave them the same. But what I am for sure going to do is change this. This is the depth of cut. Now, depending on what bit you have in and what software you have will depend on whether you want to change that or not. In this case, with this software and with the bit we have on the machine, we don't want to cut that deep, 1/2 inch. We only want to cut 1/8 of an inch. So that's 1/8 of an inch. And then this, feed depth per cycle, how much it's going to cut every time it cuts. So we're going to set it at 0.2. which is kind of a good level to have it at. You're not cutting too much. In this case, what that means here though is that it's going to cut the whole pass at once. Because let's say I wanted it at 1/2 inch, it would take 3 passes to cut that 1/2 inch, right, at 0.2. Your origin position, I like to go in that corner. The General CNC guy likes to start from the center. So it just depends on you and what you're doing, you know. And then all we do, so that's everything we need to know is right there. If I wanted to change something, I could. This right here, you've only got 6 different bits to choose from. And again, when you buy better software, you can choose any number of bits and get all kinds of different variety, and you can even set up your own bits. But in this software, you're limited there. That's all you can do. And then this is your speed rating. But speed-wise, you'll just set it on high speed. Again, depending on the software and what you're cutting. So the big thing over and over again that you hear is software. Software and the type of CNC will determine what you can and can't do and how good it will look. So this is just a basic program, really nice, really good, but just you can't do as much with it. So then we're going to hit Convert. It's going to ask us where we want to save it, and that'll work. We're going to call it Christmas Stocking, and we hit Save, telling me it's going to take a couple of minutes, and then you'll see these bars go, and once that finishes, then this file is ready to take over to the CNC. And so when you buy your CNC, it comes with a little flash drive, not this one, another little flash drive. You need to be careful what flash drive you use. If your flash drive, this is my flash drive, and it has security software on it, and so because of that, the CNC can't read it. We sell General International and Laguna. Both Laguna and General sell about a mid-size CNC on down. You know, there are CNCs out there that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars and even millions of dollars. A basic one in a wood shop might cost you 100, 200,000, and then you kind of go down from there. So General and Laguna both have about a $30,000 CNC that will do larger pieces. And then they have smaller CNCs. The really cool thing about CNC machines is they're becoming much more affordable. So, you know, Laguna's got one here for about $5. With software, you'd be about $5 for the General as well, the nicer General. And then they have an even smaller version. So with each CNC, there's kind of pluses and minuses, and you need to pay attention to the software, and that's a big thing. You'll hear that repeatedly throughout this little segment, but also what the CNC is capable of. For instance, here you see the price is more than double for this machine, but there's a huge difference between these two. Even though the size, 15 by 20 versus 13 by 18, is only 2 inches, this has the capability to move like a router. This machine you see back here in our little cave we built for it, that machine can do router mode, and it can do this other printer type mode. If you were to try and do this fancy design in this mode here, it would take you hours and hours and hours, maybe, I don't know, 2 to 4 hours to do this design. Now, if you do this design in router mode, this only takes 20, 30 minutes. Again, depending on which CNC you get. So the router mode is a huge feature that's really important. The router forgoes all this outline garbage and just does the inside, and it follows the curve. Now the benefit to following the curve, I don't know if you can see this real well on there, but there's a little bit of tear out inside there. Granted, that's partially the bit as well, but what's happening is as this is going over, it goes down, up, down, up, down, up. And so whereas this is continuous, it follows that curve along. And so you have a lot less tear out in these curves. And that's, you know, since it's following that line continuously, it's able to get you a nicer, cleaner cut. Another, for instance, this right here, whether you like the team or not, this only takes 7 minutes to cut in router mode on that machine. Now, if I put it in this other mode with this other software, this same design would take me at least an hour, maybe even longer, depending on the depth and whatnot. So the key is on these machines is you want to make sure you know what you're getting, and that's kind of the same concept here. Even though this looks like a much better deal because you're only losing 2 inches, you're really losing the capability to use that router mode. So you're losing speed, and you're also losing versatility, because the router mode means you can do a lot more designs. So that's just kind of a little bit on CNCs, lots of them out there. We're more than happy to help however we can. I would definitely recommend researching them, looking at the software they use, and most of the software companies have demo versions you can download and see if you like them or not. And then for sure call in and read user reviews and all that kind of stuff. But we really like both the General and the Laguna. They do an excellent job. We have a General here on the floor to show you today. The software that I have right now in our possession is this basic software that only allows this nice machine to do the printer mode where it goes back and forth. We've gone over the basics, we've gone over the software. Now we're gonna go in here to our little cave. These machines aren't horribly loud, but they are kind of annoying, and they can be somewhat loud, especially here in our store. We're trying to be on the phone all day, so we built this little cave around it to dampen the sound. It helps. It's not perfect, but it helps. Definitely in your shop, if you have a door, a room that you can close off, you'll close off the majority of the sound. This is the CNC. It's a 15 by 20. Again, it has the router mode, and we'll go over the controls. Super basic, super easy, and we're just going to do a preset program. Definitely the bit matters, the software matters, as we talked about over and over again, and then the wood will matter as well. If you get a really porous wood like mahogany, you get more tear out, but that's the way it is with any tool as well. What we're going to do is set this in here first, and I don't know if we can see this real clearly, but there's a 0 point up here, and we're just going to bring that right up to the 0, and then there's these clamps over here on this side. Real easy to use. This, we've been using the same piece size all day, so they're already preset, but if you needed to move them, you loosen that and move it to whatever line you need, right? So we're just going to tighten down these thumb screws, and there's some torque on this, so you want to make sure it doesn't move too much, you know. So that's got a little bit of give. wrench that down a little bit more. Okay, so that's set in there. Now the next thing we have to do is zero out the CNC. As a side note to this, notice the Y plus, Y minus, X plus. So you have 3 axes or more on a CNC, depending on which CNC you buy. And so Y is this way, X is this way, and Z is your up-down movement. Okay. If you go, this particular CNC is really cool. It's equipped with a safety mechanism, so it won't let you go beyond certain parameters. So if I push my Y plus and I go back here too much, it shuts the machine off. And then I pull out my little tool, and there's a little hole down here, and I'd use my Allen wrench, and I'd bring the CNC forward until we were past the safety zone. And there's one of those on this side, so if I get too aggressive on a cut and it stalls out, I can just bring the head up with that right there. So before we get going, it automatically comes back up in this top corner. We talked about that on the software a little bit, the origin position. This is the automatic setting here. So if I centered it, I'd want to bring it in the center of the piece, but again, on the software, usually I go with the corner. So what we're going to do, we're going to come here to the keypad, select File, Position, Version. We're going to go down to Position. We're going to hit Enter. We're going to go Z minus to bring the head of the machine down. Okay. And now that's about where I want it, and I know that because of the designs I've been making, that's about the size I want. So we're going to keep coming, and you just want to just barely pierce the material. Don't go too deep, but don't go too shallow. Okay, so we've got everything set up where we want to go for this particular cut. So I'm going to hit Escape to go back, Enter, select File, and then I'm going to go down to whatever we're doing next, which is... okay, it's that one. So we're going to hit Enter. Now before we get going, we'll hit Enter again to start, but before we get going, a couple of things. While this is going, I watch it to make sure that I'm not going to go past and cut my clamps, but also you'll watch your piece. Once you know it's safe, you can leave it alone and just check on it every once in a while. But when you first get going, you want to watch this, and if things get bad, or if you see it starting to cut somewhere it shouldn't, you hit this button and it kicks it off automatically. Okay? So we'll just do that just for practice. So we kicked it off, right? And then when we turn it back on, the machine's going to automatically go and zero itself real quick. So see it automatically resetting itself. So again, we're just going to go down here and reset our position. Just to where it just barely pierces the material. Oops. There we go. Okay, select File, Enter. It's searching. Oh, here's where we plugged in the jump drive right here. The flash drive. We're going to hit down to select. Okay, so this is going to get loud for a second. You know the basics here, so we'll just kind of watch the machine go for a minute, and thanks for watching.